August 12, 1949. In the historic city of Geneva, Switzerland, delegates from around the globe gathered to formalize an agreement that would forever alter the legal landscape of human conflict. In the dark shadow of the unprecedented atrocities of World War II, a war that witnessed the erasure of cities, the industrialization of genocide, and the mass victimization of innocent civilians, the international community recognized a desperate existential need. They came together to adopt the four monumental Geneva Conventions. This landmark diplomatic achievement set the definitive global standard for the protection of victims of war. It was a bold declaration to a fractured world that even in the chaotic, destructive fury of battle, humanity must have a sanctuary. The conventions established a legal line that must never be crossed, enshrining the radical notion that even enemies possess fundamental human rights. It was the birth of modern international humanitarian law, drafted in the hope that the horrors the world had just survived would never be allowed to happen again. Truly understand the revolutionary scope of the 1949 agreements, we must analyze the catastrophic failures of previous treaties and the raw horrors that made these new laws absolutely necessary. Earlier iterations of international law, dating back to the 19th and early 20th centuries, were woefully inadequate. They focused almost entirely on the combatants themselves, leaving massive legal loopholes that crumbled under the weight of total warfare. This chapter explores the profound expansions made in 1949. The first three conventions updated and strengthened existing protections for wounded and sick soldiers on land, shipwrecked sailors at sea, and prisoners of war. They outlawed torture, execution without trial, and degrading treatment, mandating that captives be treated with basic human dignity. But the most groundbreaking element was the Fourth Geneva Convention. For the very first time in human history, international law explicitly focused on the protection of civilians in times of war, particularly those living in occupied territories. Having witnessed the millions of non-combatants targeted, deported, and starved during World War II, the global community declared that civilians must be shielded from collective punishment, reprisals, and the direct theater of military operations. The conventions created a sophisticated legal architecture that endures as a pillar of global justice today. They did not attempt to outlaw war itself, recognizing that conflicts would inevitably arise. Instead, they built a framework of rules to govern how wars are fought, establishing clear legal obligations placed on all belligerent states. Under this framework, signing nations are legally bound to enforce these laws within their own militaries. Soldiers are trained to distinguish between legitimate military targets and protected individuals. Violating these rules constitutes a war crime, and nations are obligated to search for and prosecute anyone accused of committing such grave breaches. Furthermore, the conventions carved out a unique, indispensable role for the International Committee of the Red Cross. The ICRC was granted the international mandate to act as an independent, neutral, and impartial monitor of compliance. Red Cross delegates were given the legal right to visit prisoner of war camps, evaluate the treatment of civilians, and deliver life-saving aid, creating an essential bridge of compassion between warring factions. Decades after their historic signing, the Geneva Conventions remain the absolute benchmark for civilized conflict in an imperfect world. They've been universally ratified by every single country on Earth, making them a rare example of global consensus on the sanctity of human life. However, we must also examine their ongoing relevance and the severe challenges they face in our contemporary era. The battlefield has changed dramatically since 1949. Today, we live in an era dominated by asymmetric warfare, non-state actor insurgencies, terrorist networks, and internal civil conflicts that cross no international borders. When battlefields shift from open fields to densely populated urban centers, and when combatants deliberately hide among civilians, enforcing the Geneva Conventions becomes incredibly difficult.
Yet, international legal scholars argue that these modern complexities make the conventions more vital than ever before. They serve as a constant legal and moral anchor, reminding modern militaries that no matter how unconventional an enemy might be, the basic laws of humanity can never be suspended.
The adoption of the Geneva Conventions on August 12, 1949, was an act of profound international morality, a collective realization that even in our darkest moments of violence, we must not lose our humanity. It proved that the international community could unite to protect the vulnerable, even after suffering a devastating global trauma. As we look at the state of global affairs today, we are left with a critical, challenging question about the power of international law. How do you assess the ability of written legal treaties to prevent the dehumanization that so often accompanies war? Can international law truly restrain the hand of violence when nations fight for their survival? Or is the enforcement of these laws a continuous battle in itself? We want to hear your analytical perspectives on this vital chapter of history. Share your thoughts, historical theories, and insights in the comments section below. If you found this deep dive into international humanitarian law valuable, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to join us for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in our next episode.